Well, good afternoon. Please have a seat. Some of us were just remarking up here, you guys do the solemnity quite well. That was very impressive. Well, good afternoon and welcome. My name is Dave Douglas, and it's my pleasure to serve as Dean of the Law School. It's wonderful to have everyone here for the class of 2016 awards ceremony. This is always a great event. And I just want to particularly thank the parents and the family members and friends who are here. You know, you don't get through law school without a team, and you're the team. So it's wonderful that you're here to support the graduates who will be honored today. A few of the special student awards are going to be saved for tomorrow, so we're not going to confer all the awards here today, but we will do many of them. We also have a few awards that were conferred some weeks ago in a separate ceremony, and which we will not go back to today. Today is a time of celebration. It's a time of celebration for our graduates. It's a time of celebration for our family members as well. And to that end, I want you to feel free to express your enthusiasm for your friends and graduates. That means you can clap, you can come down and take a quick picture if your graduate is receiving an award. But this is a happy day. It's a day of celebration, and we want you to enjoy it. After the ceremony, there will be a reception. Now, traditionally, the reception is over at the Wren Building, but apparently the weather is going to go south on us in the next hour and a half, or it could, and so we've decided to relocate the reception to the law school lobby. So if you'll make your way to the law school lobby, I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll be beautiful at 4:30, but on the theory that it looks like it may be a little wet, we're gonna move up back to the law school after this ceremony. One last sort of preliminary matter that I wanted to notice, you may, particularly the family members and parents, may have noticed the mace that our Student Bar Association President Scott Christiniak brought in. And you might be asking yourself, what in the world is that? Well, it turns out that is actually a replica of one of the maces used in the House of Commons in England. It was fabricated in the middle of the 19th century. And we don't know how we got it, but we did get it, and we're not giving it back. We begin our ceremonies today with Order of the Coif. Order of the Coif is the Phi Beta Kappa of the law school world. It's one of the highest honors that law schools confer on their graduating students. This year, we will admit 23 new members to Order of the Coif, and this is based on their grade point average. It reflects the top 10% of the graduating class. Now, first of all, let me tell you a little bit about Order of the Coif. What is Order of the Coif? It's kind of a sort of an odd name. Well, Order of the Coif is an ancient institution dating back probably to the 12th century. The English order, where it begins, was an association of lawyers from whose ranks judges were appointed and who for centuries had the sole right to appear in English courts as barristers. Only the most able lawyers in England were chosen for Order of the Coif. There was much pomp and ceremony that attended the initiation of new members. There were learned address given, bells were rung. It was quite an event when new members of Order of the Coif were brought into membership. A feast was held in conjunction with membership in Order of the Coif that would be attended by judges, often by the nobility, members of the church, and on occasion the royalty would attend. There would be often as much as 7 days of feasting, and this was quite a thing. Now here was the catch though. If you were one of the new inductees into Order of Coif, apparently you had to pay for all of this. Can I just say to the new members of Order of the Coif, we don't do that. That tradition has been lost in the midst of time, so you don't have to pay a thing. But so why Order of the Coif? Order of the Coif. Well, some of you may be thinking about that. Coif has something to do with hair, right? Well, that's kind of part of it. Traditionally, the members of Order of the Coif in England wore sort of a tight-fitting cap tied under their chin. That morphs into the wig that you're more familiar with that English barristers might wear even today. And so that's where the name Order of the Coif comes from. It was always a highly selective society in England. At any given time, no more than about 45 members, including some of the great jurists in England, such as Blackstone and Glanville and Cook. Now we turn to the initiation of our members of Order of the Coif for this year. There are only about 85 law schools in the United States that have a chapter. We're one of them, of the more than 200 law schools. It's quite selective to be a law school with a chapter, and we're proud to be one. I'm going to ask Patty Roberts, Professor Patty Roberts, to come forward, and she will read the names. She is our chapter secretary of Order of the Coif, and she will read the names of the new members. And when your name is called, if you'll come forward up onto the stage.
It is my great pleasure to announce our new members. Kevin G. Bender, Elizabeth L. Berry, Cameron A. Bonney, Graham Keith Bryant, Caitlin R. Shunay, Jessica Walter Colton, Lacey Renee Kopash, Suzanne E. Cordner, Bria J. M. Cunningham, James R. Damon, Jacob Mackenzie Durr, Eric Samuel Fleming, Melissa Ann Fussell, Cameron Dwayne Ginder, Melanie M. Laser, Kevin M. McWhorter, Justin Pierce, Peter J. Rector, Walter Ryan Schuster, Leonard D. Simmons, Jennifer L. Watson, Amber Ray Will, Christopher K. Wills. On behalf of our chapter, congratulations.
An important part of the life of the law school are our competition teams. So this includes our moot court team, our trial team, our alternative dispute resolution team, and our transaction team. It's a great addition to the education of our students. Many of our students participate and compete quite successfully. I'll start by just saying a quick word about the moot court team. That's the oldest of these teams, and it's actually a tradition in legal education that began here at William and Mary. When we were founded as the first law school in America in 1779, one of the first parts of the legal experience, the educational experience of our students, is they competed on a moot court team, where they would take actual cases that were pending in the courts, and they would argue both sides of the case with the other students. It was a great way to train our students in the 18th century in the law, and this is a tradition, of course, that has continued ever since. What I'd like to do now is to simply recognize, by asking the students to stand, for the ones who enjoyed particular success this year among the 3L students. I will tell you, every year I do this, I worry that I will leave someone out because there are a lot of competitions, and they're coming at me throughout the year. So if I have left your name out, please forgive me. But I'm going to just call out the names of people who succeeded in advancing at least to the quarterfinals of a particular tournament. And if you'll stand when I call your name. So we will start off with the Moot Court team. The Hassell Moot Court tournament was won by Devin Bates and Eric Sutton, and they were also the runner-up for filing the best petitioner's brief. I tell you what we're going to do here. We are going to clap our hands off once I've finished. How about that? I say that only because we're going to go through a lot of these, but when we're done, I want the enthusiasm of all the award winners to come at once. So let's go with that. At the ABA National Appellate Advocacy Competition, advancing to the quarterfinals were Lydia Myers and Jennifer Watson. I move on now to the trial team. At the ABA Labor and Employment Competition in Washington, the winners of that competition were Nasser Aberjan and Courtney Hagee. That's the third year in a row that our trial team has won that particular competition. At the Puerto Rico Trial Advocacy Competition, Melanie Laser and Abigail Pierce advanced to the finals, and Parker Tobin was named the 5th best advocate at the competition. At the St. John's Memorial National Civil Rights Trial Advocacy Competition, Parker Tobin and Matthew Hubbard advanced to the quarterfinals. At the National Trial Team Competition for the Mid-Atlantic region at American University, Jane Britton and Michael Collette won the championship. Jane was named the best advocate for the entire competition. At that same competition, there was a second William & Mary team, and Darren Ziegler advanced to the semifinals. At the Capital City Challenge competition in Washington, Katie Shune and Jason Kowalski advanced to the quarterfinals. At the American Association for Justice National Student Trial Competition, Chelsea King and Matthew Hubbard finished third. At the Estrella Trial Competition in Puerto Rico, Parker Tobin was named the best advocate at the entire competition, and Nasser Aberdan was named the 5th best advocate. So that was a pretty big year for the trial team. The trial team, by the way, has just been invited. There's a selection every year of the top 16 trial teams in the United States. Our trial team was included in that and has been invited to compete at a special competition in Texas this summer. So their work moves on. Our alternative dispute resolution team competed at the NASCAR negotiation competition in Charlotte, and Devin Bates and Justin Pierce advanced to the final round, and Justice Pierce was named the best oralist for the entire competition. At the ABA regional competition in mediation advocacy hosted by Georgetown, Matt Cooper won the competition. This is the third year in a row that a William & Mary ADR team has won this competition. And finally, the transaction team had a success as Charles Gully competed in the competition, the Eastern Regional Intellectual Property Competition, and advanced to the semifinals. If you're here today and you have been on any of the competition teams, if you would please stand up. You guys really did have a successful year and have set the bar high for next year's group. Next, we honor the Order of the Barristers, which will be awarded by Jeffrey Bright, an adjunct professor of law at the law school. Jeff?
The Order of Barristers was established at the University of Texas in 1965 as an honor society dedicated to the acknowledgement of superior advocacy To be elected to the Order of Barrister, a student must have contributed substantially in an oral argument program, either in administration of an advocacy program or through the development of advocacy skills through competition. This selection is limited by the school's participation in competitive activities, and the selection is made by both the national trial team and the moot court teams. Before I announce the winners, I serve in 3 capacities for our trial team, and I speak to them directly. I have been their coach and their professor, and after the last 4 semesters together, I would like to consider them my friends. I stand as a bridge, really, between these brilliant professors that are behind me and the practice of law, which is about to face them. I know that all of you all are very proud to call these lawyers lawyers. I'm very proud to call all of them my colleague. The winner of the Order of Barristers, Nasser Aborden. I'm going to use the dean's advice and enthusiastically hold yourselves to your seats for a few more names, although Nasser deserved that. Devin Bates, Janie Britton, Caitlin Shunay, Michael Collette, Jacob Durr, Kimberly Knipe, Krishana Patel, Eric Sutton, and Parisa Tapasian. All of y'all come up. I was looking for you. You must have snuck in late. Congratulations. Congratulations. It's me, right?
So we turn now to the next set of awards, and these are academic awards based on the academic achievement of our graduating students. We will begin with the ABA BNA Award for Excellence in the Study of Healthcare Law, which will be presented by Professor Stacy Kern-Shear.
Hi. Hello there. This award recognizes outstanding achievement in health law studies. It's presented by the ABA and the Bloomberg Bureau of National Affairs. The graduate receiving this award today has demonstrated exceptional intellectual engagement and commitment to the study of health law. He was a top performer in each of the health law-related courses he took during law school. Following a clerkship next year, he will join the Philadelphia office of Blank Rome, a firm with an outstanding health law practice. The profession is very fortunate to be welcoming such a talent into the fold. For his superior performance and commitment to health law studies, will Walter Ryan Schuster please come forward to receive his award? I'd also like to take a moment to recognize the Legal Practice Scholar Award winners. These are the graduates who received honors in all 3 semesters of the Legal Practice program. Will the following students please stand and be recognized? Jane Britton, Graham K. Bryant, James R. Damon III, Melissa A. Fussell, Thomas J. Lukash, Charles M. Matthews, Caitlin V. McHugh, Maeve E. Olney, Justin C. Pierce, Lauren R. Stock-Smith, and Jennifer L. Watson. Congratulations.
The American Bar Association and Bureau of National Affairs Award for Excellence in the Study of Intellectual Property Law honors superior academic performance in the field of intellectual property law. The recipient this year has excelled in her IP endeavors at William & Mary. She earned top grades in each of the 5 IP courses she has taken, including patent law, which she took with me. She's not actually interested in patent law, which I learned at the beginning because I pass out note cards and have them tell me, but she wanted to do it to round out her knowledge, which is a brave thing to do if you have no interest in patent law. It's a pretty technical class, but nevertheless, she showed up prepared every day, was very engaged, asked excellent and challenging questions, which I really appreciated. In her externship at Spotsfane PC in Richmond, she's done a lot of trademark and copyright work, which I know is where her passions lie, and she has also done excellently in those fields at the law school in the classes she's taken. In particular, Professor Marcus told me that she did top-notch work in her copyright seminar with him this semester, and Dean Heyman let me know about the independent research paper that she had done on brands that dilute the worth of their own trademarks by, for example, running a line in Target for some trademark that's sort of well known as a high-end brand. So she has excelled in every piece of intellectual property law that she has touched. We very much look forward to following her career in IP, which I'm sure will be an excellent one. I'm very pleased to present the ABA BNA Award for Excellence in the Study of Intellectual Property Law to Kalina D. Parker.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ron Rosenberg, and I'm a professor here at the law school, and I teach the subject of state and local government law and land use control. The ABA has an award in the state and local government law area, and this year, a student in my state and local government law class from last fall is the winner of this award. He was the, I guess, most excellent student in that class, and his name is Scott Kristiniak.
Good afternoon. I'm Bill Richardson. I'm a tax professor. But I'm standing here right now to present an award for the most outstanding student in bankruptcy law. And those of you who took bankruptcy may wonder, why is Richardson up there? Well, Nate Oman, who normally would do this, could not be with us today, so I think somebody picked the male faculty member who looks the least like Nate of anyone else. Those of you who don't know Nate, he's tall, slender, fairly young, good-looking, has a full head of hair. So I will do my best to pinch hit for Nate today. This award is the American Bankruptcy Institute Medal of Excellence Award. And the recipient of this award has already been up here once today as a member of Order of the Coif. So while he is our most outstanding bankruptcy student, I suspect he's pretty outstanding in all his courses. Cameron Ginder, would you please step forward to accept this award?
Good afternoon. My name is Laura Heyman. I teach intellectual property law courses here at the law school, and I also currently serve as vice dean. And I'm here to present the American Law Institute CLE Scholarship and Leadership Award. This award is presented to a member of the graduating class who represents an exemplary combination of scholarship and leadership. We've had many graduates who have achieved much in these areas, as you've already heard and will continue to hear. But our winner today represents an outstanding combination of achievement in both of these areas. The recipient of this award served as a lead articles editor for the William & Mary Law Review, as the tournament justice for our Moot court team. One of my colleagues described her as a stellar oral advocate, as a teaching assistant in the first-year criminal law course, as a competitor on our ADR team, the historian for our Phi Delta Phi Honor Society, and as the secretary for the student division of our Human Security Law Center. I'm not done yet. As some of you might be aware, our appellate and Supreme Court clinic provides students with high-quality training for appellate practice in the federal courts of appeal in the U.S. Supreme Court. It focuses on First Amendment cases on free speech and religion issues and Fourth Amendment search and seizure cases. And one of the cases that the clinic's students worked on was a case called U.S. v. Williams, in which Mr. Williams challenged a warrantless seizure as a violation of his Fourth Amendment rights. So a team of students worked on researching and drafting the brief, and this student argued the case before the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit. And this past December, the court issued a published decision in favor of the clinic's client. And if all this at the law school weren't enough, the student will also graduate this year with a master's in public policy from the college. And in that program, she served as an articles editor for the Thomas Jefferson Public Policy Review and won third place in the 2013 Schroeder Center Health Policy Awards for Student Scholarship. She'll be clerking for the Honorable Robert Huntington of the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of West Virginia after graduation. It is with great pleasure that I present the American Law Institute CLE Scholarship and Leadership Award to Amber Will.
Good afternoon. I'm Judge Judith Barzilai. I'm a senior judge on the United States Court of International Trade, and I'm a professor of practice here at William & Mary. I teach international trade law, and so I'm here to present the Carter Kaplan Award for Excellence in International Financial Law. But first, I want to congratulate all the graduates, their friends and family, and those receiving awards today. When I started law school many years ago, our boys were 2 and 4, so I'm very well aware of how crucial the support of friends and family can be. The Carter Kaplan Award this year goes to Kevin Bender. Kevin, congratulations. Kevin was one of the best students in a very accomplished class last fall. Not only did he earn an A on the final, but he made a significant contribution to class discussions. He was always game to answer some of the professor's most esoteric questions, and he posed a few challenging and thoughtful questions of his own, both in the field of international trade and in general legal practice. I foresee a successful career for Kevin as a contributing member of our profession. Kevin, it's my pleasure to present this award to you. You will be able to keep this certificate, and you will be able to look at your name on this card. Thank you.
Now for the tax award. Yes. This award is the John E. Donaldson Award for the most outstanding tax student in the graduating class. This award is named for one of our own. John Donaldson was a student here class of 1963, editor of the Law Review, returned to the law school 3 years later and began a 35-year career as an outstanding teacher, scholar, administrator, leader of the faculty, the bar, and the community. John is a giant in law school history. He is, I believe, the only professor emeritus, and John's still going strong, he bikes 20 miles several days a week, to have 3 honors. We have a classroom named for him, a scholarship named for him, and this award for the most outstanding tax student named for him. How does one qualify for this award? First, you have to have taken at least 3 tax courses. Now, I see some surprised looks out there. There really are students that take at least 3 tax courses. In fact, there's some that take as many as 6. Our recipient this year took, 5 tax courses, 4 advanced courses in the basic federal income tax course, as well as a federal income tax clinic. He excelled each and every time. Our winner this year is Kevin Bender. I'm told not to go far off. But the most remarkable achievement about Kevin's winning the award this year is he is the first male winner.
Good afternoon. I'm Cunningham, and it's my privilege as an adjunct to manage the family law clinic, the domestic violence clinic, and to teach in the legal skills class. So I get to interact with a lot of these folks. I get to present the Family Law Book Award. The Family Law section of the Virginia State Bar and the Virginia chapter of the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers co-sponsor this award. It's to be presented to a graduating student at each Virginia law school who's demonstrated the most promise and potential for the practice of family law. The award consists of a family law practice book together with a certificate of achievement. This year's recipient is Marley Tristano. If she'll come forward now, I have a lot of nice things to say about her, so I'm going to have her walk while I talk. I really do get to work with some really bright, talented students every year. And this year, Marley shone a little more brightly than her classmates. I was going to say she was head and shoulders above, but when you come up, you'll see why I skipped that one. While a member of the clinic, she readily volunteered for some of the most difficult cases, the ones that were the most labor-intensive, and she took them on head-on. She spent hours in the clinic. There were very few days that I didn't see her in the clinic office, that I didn't get emails from her morning, afternoon, evening, weekends. She worked, and I was constantly reviewing and approving her work, and she just did a terrific job with it. At the end of the fall semester, she was in my fall semester class, she asked me if she could intern at the legal aid office where I work full-time, so that she could continue working on some of those cases in addition to the other cases that the normal interns would work on. So I really quickly agreed to do that. She appeared on court on behalf of clients. She, after finals began this past semester, she came to the settlement conference with a very experienced local attorney who she handled quite readily, thank you, and got a very favorable agreement for a very difficult client who put himself in a very difficult situation. Marley exhibited a fantastic work ethic, dedication to her clients, and professionalism beyond her years and experience. She's going to make an impact in the Midwest very soon when she goes back there to practice family law, and I am pleased and honored to present her with this award.
Well, hello again. The law school has 2 degree programs. The one that most of you are familiar with is the JD program. But it also has a program called the LLM degree program, a master's program for international lawyers or law students. And every year, several dozen of these students come to us from all over the world. They sit in our classes and take our classes sitting next to our JD students, and the JD students in the crowd probably know about that from their own experience. They are often trained, and most of them are trained in the civil law system, so the common law system that we're familiar with is something pretty unusual to them. I have the honor today to award the Graduate Academic Excellence Award, which is to be given to those LLM students achieving the highest level of academic performance, and that means GPA, in the LLM course of study. And I would like to name 4 of our LLM class for this honor, and please hold your applause until all 4 of them have been named. Matteo Capone, Elaine Sim. You can come up, please. Please. Shaji Hanfi. And Xiaoxi Liu. Please come up, all 4 of you.
Hi, everyone. I am happy to present 5 awards today to our LLM students who excelled in legal writing and research. As Professor Rosenberg said, they come from different legal systems, and English is not their first language, so this is a huge achievement. First, Matteo Capone. Second, Yulia Kovragina. Agata Jeshkop, Elaine E. Sim, and Chao Zhou.
Hi, I'm Tom McSweeney. I teach legal history here at the law school, and I'm here to present the Hamilton Prize, which recognizes outstanding performance in legal history. And it's my pleasure to present the Hamilton Prize to Candace Wary this year. Candace wrote a really excellent paper for my History of the Common Law course, and the paper's title was Common Right and Reason, Cook's Application of Natural Law to Many and Almost Infinite Particulars. In this paper, Candace gives us a new way of understanding the legal thought of Sir Edward Coke, an English jurist of the 16th century, and one of the great figures in the history of the common law. In the paper, Candace actually sort of takes on the received wisdom on Coke. She takes on scholars who have argued that Coke didn't think much of the idea of natural law. Coke tends to emphasize English law's Englishness in his writings, and scholars have generally cast his view of the common law in opposition to natural law, a universal law based on reason. Candace argues that these scholars' conclusions are, quote, not ill-founded, they're simply incomplete. Through careful and close readings of Coke's writings, Candace argues persuasively that Coke actually thought about natural law quite a bit, and that his theories about common law's Englishness are actually nestled comfortably within a framework defined by natural law. It was a well-researched and provocative paper, and so Candace, I'm pleased to present you with the Hamilton Prize for Legal History. There she is. That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Herman Prize is the highest award for a student that can be given by the Center for Legal and Court Technology. It is named in honor of our benefactor, Richard Herman, an extraordinary high-tech trial lawyer in Delaware. It is only given when clearly merited, and the award has not been given for some years. This year, we had a number of highly qualified possibilities. One stood out. As you hear your name, please join us. I will read the citation. The Law School of the College of William and Mary in Virginia, to all who shall see these presents greeting, this is to certify the 2016 Herman Prize has been awarded to Jane M. Britton in recognition of having demonstrated great potential in making future contributions to the enhancement of trial practice through the innovative use of courtroom technology. Ms. Britton's continuing and selfless efforts to assist the Center for Legal and Court Technology in its experimental, operational, academic efforts have brought great credit upon her and this institution and served as a major inspiration to others. It is signed by the Dean, the President of the National Center for State Courts, and the Director of the Center for Legal and Court Technologies.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Griffin, and among the courses that I teach here are torts and property to first years and remedies and employment discrimination to upper class students. And I'm here in that latter capacity to present the John G. Crutchko Award in Labor and Employment Law. The generosity of John G. Crutchko makes possible the annual recognition of a graduating student who has excelled in labor law and employment relations. The recipient is selected by the law school faculty who teach labor and employment law. And I am so thrilled to be awarding this distinction to a member of the class of 2016 who I was lucky to have in both the first and the final semesters. I saw this student come from absolutely no knowledge of the law, schooling the student in torts, making sure that she understood everything possible while having a good time. And I was struck by how she took to the experience of the classroom. She is fiercely intelligent. No one should underestimate that. But the spirit with which she approaches the enterprise of learning, the spirit that she has with her fellow students, I know with faculty, made her such a special addition to this class. Now, between those bookends of torts and employment discrimination, she definitely attained most of the major, what I would call merit badges that a law student could achieve. Member of the Law Review, Associate Justice of the Honor Council, member of and leader of numerous other organizations. But again, what makes the student so special is that almost in spite of how brilliant she is, there is something incredibly infectious about her spirit, her generosity, and really just her smile. I am so delighted and thrilled to present the Crutchko Award in 2016 to Lauren R. Stock-Smith.
Hello, everyone. The National Association of Women Lawyers Award recognizes a student who contributes to the advancement of women in society, promotes issues and concerns of women in the legal profession, exhibits motivation, tenacity, and enthusiasm, demonstrates academic achievement, and earns the respect of the dean and the faculty. During her years at the law school, this year's recipient has shown great dedication to public service and has been a key player in behalf of women. She has served as senior articles editor of the Journal on Women in Law, events chair for the Women's Law Society, and a board member of the law school's Public Service Fund. I'm personally grateful to her for the engaged and active role she played at the Women's Law Society last year, when, as a member of the College Task Force on Sexual Assault, I worked closely with the WLS in arranging a number of events at the law school and on main campus, which helped to publicize the work of the task force and engage the college community in discussing it. Please join me in acknowledging the recipient of this year's National Association of Women Lawyers Award, Olivia Wiggins. Unfortunately, Olivia can't be here to accept her award personally, but we will keep it for her until she can claim it. Thank you.
I'm Jeffrey Bright again, and it's my honor to award the Virginia Trial Lawyer Award that recognizes a graduating student in the skills of trial advocacy. I needed 12 awards this year, and it's probably the most difficult thing I've done in my 10 years here, trying to sift through with the outstanding talent that makes up our trial team. Before I bring up the recipient, there are about 100 1Ls that try out to make the 12 slots on the trial team. And during their first year, they are trained and educated, not by me, but by the leaders of the trial team, one of whom is a recipient this afternoon. They then join the trial team on their second year, and third year they're in competitions in all 2 of those years. So there's 36 students who have to be guided, trained, and I basically burr their edges, but the head of the trial team, Janie Britton, has trained each and every one of them for 3 straight years and is the recipient of this year's VTLA award.
Okay. Well, listen, before we proceed, I think we have to talk about something. You've been noticing that we've been handing out a lot of certificates, but we've also had a few plaques. But there's something about these plaques. Nobody gets to keep them. What's up with that? Just so everybody knows, those are the ones that will stay on the walls of the law school in perpetuity. And it's actually a lot of fun to come back years later. And I hope our students will and see their names on the plaques, even though we didn't let you go home with it. So at least you'll have the happy knowledge that your name will be there in perpetuity. We now turn to another very important part of our legal education experience, and that is our law journals. We have 5 student-run, student-edited law journals at William & Mary. The William & Mary Law Review, the William & Mary Bill of Rights Journal, the William & Mary Environmental Law and Policy Journal, the William & Mary Journal of Women in the Law, and the William & Mary Business Law Review. These 5 journals this year published over 6,000 pages of legal scholarship. I have no idea the number of hours collectively that went into the article selection, the editing, the site checking, and all the incredibly time-consuming work that it takes to produce a journal, a law review journal. One of the marks of a law review is how often is the work cited by other scholars or by courts. To some extent, that's why law reviews exist, is that they put out ideas, and the hope is that the ideas will be important ideas that others will take note of, and the judges will cite the ideas in an article, or another scholar will cite the ideas of an article, and it sort of leads to our deeper understanding of the law. And that's one of the targets of every law review. Now, there are hundreds and hundreds of law reviews in the United States, probably well north of 400 or 500 law reviews of all the law schools in the United States. What I'd like to do, and I'm speaking to the parents in particular, I want to give you a sense of how prominent our particular law reviews are. They are measured in terms of how often they are cited within their particular field. So listen to me as I give you the latest report. The William & Mary Law Review, which is a general interest law review, which is to say it publishes in all fields of law, is currently the 21st most cited law review in the United States. The William and Mary Bill of Rights Journal is the second most cited law review in the field of civil rights law. It is the third most cited specialty law review in the field of constitutional law. The William and Mary Environmental Law and Policy Review is the second most cited specialty law review in the field of energy law, and the fifth most cited specialty law review in the field of environmental law. The William and Mary Journal of Women in the Law is the eighth most cited law review in the fields of gender studies, women, and sexuality. And finally, the William and Mary Business Law Review is the 10th most cited student-edited law review in the field of corporate law and business law. So as you can tell, our 5 law journals are extraordinarily influential within each of their fields, and that's due to the hard work of our students every year, their judgment in selecting articles, and the skill with which they edit those articles. So congratulations to all the students who have worked on a journal, and if you are such a student, would you please stand up? Indeed, part of the strength of our reputation as a law school, frankly, is the strength of our various law reviews. We now convey upon certain individuals special awards for excellence in the work of our law reviews, and we will begin with the Environmental Law and Policy Review.
As Dean Douglas told you, our Environmental Law and Policy Review is a top 5 journal in its field. And that, I believe, as the faculty advisor, is attributable to the hard work and great effort of the students who actually produce the notes and edit the professional articles as well. My honor today here is to award the award for the best note for this year. And putting this into context, each student, the second-year student, must produce a note, which is a lengthy research paper, and about 35 of them are produced each year. This note, which was written by Erica L. Beacom, entitled Gas, Roads, and Glory, North Dakota and MHA Nations Struggle Over Flaring Regulation, won the award for the most superior note of this year. And let me just add one other thing about this subject. Erica wrote in an area that may sound somewhat esoteric, but the Environmental Protection Agency issued final rules on Thursday in exactly the area that she wrote about. So her work is both excellent and timely. Erica.
The Thomas Jefferson Prize is awarded every year by the Bill of Rights Journal for its best note during their end-of-the-year banquet. Of the 8 notes already selected for publication on the journal, the Jefferson Prize is given to the note that best addresses a novel and timely issue in constitutional law in a clear and persuasive manner. I apologize, I'm not... I'm a new father. I'm kind of short on sleep right now. The journal is proud of all the notes it has published, but the note receiving the award today has been unanimously chosen as the best among its peers, a truly impressive accomplishment. At this time, we'd like Shana Massey to stand and be recognized for receiving the Thomas Jefferson Prize for her note, "Orange is the New Equal Protection Violation, How Evidence-Based Sentencing Harms Male Offenders." In her note, Shana critiques the use of actuarial assessments to determine the probability that a convicted criminal will commit a crime again. Many states use these actuarial assessments of the likelihood of recidivism in making sentencing determinations. Whether the offender should go to prison or be released on probation is determined using these kinds of actuarial tables. The problem Shana identifies is that many jurisdictions that use actuarial data take the offender's gender into account. Men are statistically more likely to be recidivists than women. As Shana points out, however, the underlying justification for punishment is the idea that one should answer for the crimes he or she commits singularly rather than for the sins of the many. In the context of gender, the many constitutes a veritable half of the population. In her note, Shana argues that the use of gender in evidence-based sentencing is repugnant to the Constitution's Equal Protection Clause and advocates for the removal of gender as a category in these actuarial assessments. So I'm pleased to recognize Shana Massey for the Thomas Jefferson Prize.
Good afternoon. It's my great pleasure to announce the William & Mary Business Law Review Best Note Award to Christine Henry for her note, "The Volcker Rule and the Presumption Against Extraterritoriality, Utterly Incompatible." Christine Henry's note explores the controversial Volcker Rule, its impact on two prominent German banks, and the European approach to regulating proprietary trading and risky investment. Through the lens of foreign impact of the Volcker Rule, her note argues that the extraterritorial reach of this legislation should be limited to comply with the presumption against extraterritoriality and proposes an alternative means to achieve the primary aim of the Volcker legislation. This note exemplifies the type of business law scholarship that BLR endeavors to publish. Christine Henry, congratulations on this very well-deserved award. William & Mary Business Law Review Outstanding Member is awarded to Alexander R. Viana, BLR's executive editor, for his dedication to the journal throughout the year. Alexander's work ethic, work quality, and participation exceeded the proverbial call of duty. BLR owes much of its success to dedicated editors like Alex. Congratulations, Alex. Please come forward.
I have the pleasure of awarding the William & Mary Journal of Women and the Law Best Student Note Award. For her note toward a socially responsible application of the criminal law to the problem of street harassment, I'll ask Maeve Olney to please come forward. In the note, Maeve gives a thorough treatment of the subject of street harassment, arguing that it's a true problem, arguing quite persuasively that it's a real problem. She thoroughly treats the civil and criminal penalties that are used against these, and the shortcomings of using civil and criminal law to fight against street harassment. Ultimately, she makes a policy proposal designed to address it while overcoming those shortcomings in a way that I really think threads the needle nicely and takes very seriously what it is that she's trying to address and what the ultimate goal should be. So instead of trying to have something that punishes, she suggests using citations and fines as a way to change social norms without drawing people into the criminal justice system in a way that could ultimately be harmful. It's a very well-written and nuanced argument, and for that I'm very pleased to present her with this award. But I will do it at a later date. I also have the pleasure of announcing the William & Mary Women in the Law Journal Outstanding Member Award. We're pleased to ask Jane Britton to come forward to be recognized for her outstanding work and devotion to the Journal of Women in the Law. Janie was a fantastic notes editor, team player, and overall outstanding member of the Journal of Women in the Law. She could always be counted on for her poise and constructive full-spectrum feedback and mentorship to Journal staff members. The Journal was lucky to have her service, and we thank her for it.
I'm here to announce the William & Mary Law Review Best Student Note. Will Ms. Melissa Fussell please come forward to be recognized for your outstanding note published in the William & Mary Law Review entitled Dead Men Bring No Claims, How Takings Claims Can Provide Redress for Real Property Owning Victims of Jim Crow Race Riots. Melissa's note proposes a takings clause remedy for victims of real property theft during Jim Crow era race riots. The note argues that real property claims can overcome many of the typical hurdles faced by reparations claimants, including lack of evidence, standing issues, and statutes of limitation. Her note has already received national attention on Legal Academic Blog, receiving praise as a terrific piece and as a great historical detective work. Melissa, William & Mary is proud to recognize you for your hard work and your high-quality scholarship. Congratulations and best of luck on all your future endeavors.
Central to our educational process is the training of lawyers for professionalism. And so each year we recognize certain students for displaying a particularly powerful commitment to professionalism in their engagement with their students and their colleagues. Professor Stacy Kern-Shear will come back to the podium to present these awards.
Well, hello. Okay. The law school's legal practice program strives to prepare every student for the demanding practice of law. The program requires students to complete courses during their first and second years, not only focusing on legal writing, but also other critical lawyering skills such as interviewing, negotiations, and oral communications. It takes a veritable village to teach these diverse skills. And in the legal practice program, full-time faculty team up with adjuncts who are practicing attorneys to prepare students for graduation day and beyond. Each year, the full-time writing faculty and the adjunct professors together select one student from each legal practice section to receive the Gambrel Professionalism Award. This award is given to the student who best exemplifies dedication to the mastery of lawyering skills and professionalism. Each recipient will receive an inscribed Jefferson Cup and a certificate commemorating the award. Will these recipients please come forward for recognition? Caitlin Shanae, Matthew Jewett, Michelle Johnson, Rachel Struble, Lauren Stock-Smith, Ryan Schuster, Graham Bryant, Maeve Olney, Caitlin McHugh, James Damon III, Nathaniel Moberly, Hal Bean II, Jane Britton, Kata Fustos, Lauren Wiggins, Georgia McLean, Bria Cunningham, and Melissa Fussell. Congratulations to you all.
next to Jane. All right.
And now for the Spong Professionalism Award. This award is given by the Society of the Alumni of the College of William & Mary to a third-year law student who best exemplifies the professionalism and ethics in the legal practice program. The Spong Award is selected by the Legal Practice Executive Committee, and the recipient receives a Jefferson cup, a certificate, and a check. This year's recipient has demonstrated unwavering integrity, professionalism, and dedication to excellence, not only within the legal practice program, but also in multiple aspects of the law school community. Not only did she work tirelessly to master legal skills, she has been a true role model to junior students as a fellow in the legal practice program, and has always been the first to volunteer to take on any responsibility with a positive attitude. Her sharp intellect, her wry sense of humor, and her even-keeled demeanor will be sorely missed by the law school, and particularly those of us in the legal practice program. But these same qualities will serve her well in all her future endeavors, and there is no doubt that her star is rising. The 2016 recipient is Katie Shanae. Please come forward.
We now turn to the final section of the award ceremony where we focus on service awards. Service, of course, is a central ethic, we believe, in our profession, and certainly here at William & Mary Law School. And so each year at this ceremony, we honor certain students for their service to the law school and to the community. For the past decade or so, the law school has awarded dean certificates to a small group of students whose service to the law school has been particularly outstanding. This is always one of the hardest decisions that we have to make, is we have to limit this to about 20 students, and so it really makes for some hard judgment calls. But I'd like to ask the following students to come forward to receive a dean's certificate. Jane Britton, Graham Bryant, Michael Collette, Anne Marie Cortez, Mark Kramer, Brian Cruikshank, Allison Davis, Angela Diaz, Eric Fleming, Kendall Kimmelick, Kimberly Knipe, Scott Kristiniak, Mark Listus, Sarah Jo Merrill, Tyler Murray, Ross Natividad, Shayna Oppenheimer, Krishna Patel, Peter Rector, Leonard Simmons, Brett Tinsfeld, Veronica Vanden Abelen, and Darren Ziegler. Thank you very much for your service to the school. Well, our next award is a service award that was conferred a few weeks ago, but it's a particularly special award, and I wanted to go ahead and acknowledge the 4 winners of this award today and ask them to stand. This is the Ewell Award. Now, this is not a law school award, it's a campus-wide award. And every year, the College of William and Mary confers a certain number of Ewell Awards on students throughout the university, at the undergraduate level, at the professional level, at the graduate level. The criteria are outstanding participation and leadership on campus or with community activities, and on the basis of service and contribution to the community, the education, the William and Mary community. Now let me say a word about this award, the Ewell Award. First of all, who was Mr. Ewell, Mr. Benjamin Ewell, for who this award is named? Benjamin Ewell was a long-serving president of the College of William and Mary during the 19th century. In fact, he was president of the College of William and Mary during the Civil War. President Ewell opposed secession, and he thought Virginia should stay in the Union. But over his opposition, Virginia, of course, did secede from the Union. And Williamsburg, Virginia actually became ground zero in the Peninsula Campaign during the Civil War. The college was devastated, the college was closed, the students scattered, and it absolutely was really one of the worst events, the worst event in the history of this college. And for years, the college remained closed thereafter because everything was devastated as a result of the war. But President Ewell's love for the college continued such that during the years that the college was closed, he would on a regular basis go and ring the bell at the Wren Building to suggest that the spirit of the college was not dead, though the students were no longer here. And then in time, the college, of course, did reopen. But in recognition of Ewell's contribution in the sense that we would not go down as an institution, the Ewell Awards were created, and this spring, 4 law students received this award. And I'll just ask them to stand if they're here. Jane Britton, Caitlin Chunet, Rosemary Hambright, and Philip Van Kuren. You know, student organizations are an incredibly vital part of the William and Mary education. We have many, many organizations, and every year we have new organizations, and they come by virtue of the initiative of the students. A group of students are interested in a particular issue, and they establish their own organization around that issue. And it's a vital part of what we do. And so we're so pleased with the energy of our students. There's one student organization that I would like to single out for their service commitment in particular. Many of our organizations are engaged in service, and there are many that I could mention, but there's one that is particularly compelling in its commitment to service, and that is our Black Law Students Association. The Black Law Students Association has an incredibly vibrant service agenda. They, of course, are responsible for the Thanksgiving basket competition, pursuant to which every Thanksgiving thousands and thousands of items of food are distributed to needy families in our community. They're also involved in an extensive mentoring program in some of our local public schools with at-risk children. So it's, and our Black Law Students Association is recognized not just in our community, but throughout the country. Our Black Law Students Association chapter has been the Mid-Atlantic Chapter of the Year again this year, and that is the 7th time in the last 8 years that they have won that recognition, and this is on the basis of their programmatic activity as well as their service. So I want to thank the Black Law Students Association for the tremendous contribution that they continue to make, and if you're a member of BALSA, would you please stand and accept our appreciation. At this point, we will confer the Clinical Legal Education Association Award. Daryl Cunningham, if you'll step forward.
I'm just moral support for this. This next student worked us so hard, it takes 2 of us to give her the award.
The Clinical Legal Education Association Outstanding Student Award is given to one clinical student who has excelled in their coursework, casework, and shown a dedication to the clinical community. For those of you not familiar with clinical legal education, students work under the supervision of attorneys and professors of practice and represent real clients in cases before courts and administrative agencies. The student selected for this year's Clinical Legal Education Association Outstanding Student Award excelled not only in her coursework, but showed a level of compassion and dedication to her clients that would rival many professional attorneys with years of experience. The student took part in 3 clinical courses during her time at William & Mary, and she spent hundreds of hours devoted to her cases, strategizing, researching issues, drafting legal arguments, crafting oral arguments for the courtroom, and working with her clients. We had the honor of supervising this student in the domestic violence clinic, where she successfully fought for the protection of multiple victims of domestic violence in court and took on a much more complicated and involved civil litigation matter. Our clinic works with many individuals who have experienced trauma, and this student was always able to put her clients at ease and gain their trust, which is not an easy thing to do. She made herself an expert in both the facts and law of her cases, and at times reviewed hundreds of pages of transcripts from criminal and civil proceedings, met with former counsel, poured through military investigation documents and medical records. She did all of this so that she could provide the best representation possible to her client. Perhaps most telling of her dedication and devotion to her clients is how she spent her final winter break of law school. While most of us were off enjoying the holidays and a little time off, she spent the entire break researching and drafting a lengthy brief in support of one of her cases. She has also shown dedication to the clinical program overall and the community that we serve. She was pivotal in the domestic violence clinic's ability to apply for a large Department of Justice Office on Violence Against Women grant. She came into the office in her free time, including late into the night, to assist in the preparation of the grant application. She cares not only for her current clients, but the ability of those in our area to receive free legal services in the future. Our clients were lucky to have this student as their advocate this year, and I am sure that she will continue her dedication and excellent service to clients as she moves on as a professional attorney. It is my pleasure to announce that Sarah Pitts is this year's recipient of the Clinical Legal Education Association Outstanding Student Award.
Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Pitts, and I am the president of the George Wythe Society. And I have the pleasure of presenting the George Wythe Society Award today to a faculty member. The award is presented for outstanding service to the law school community and for fidelity to those qualities of character, leadership, and selfless service which distinguish the life of George Wythe, one of the founders of the law school. On top of being a full-time attorney to those of limited means at Legal Aid, he is an adjunct professor in the 1L Legal Skills program and teaches the Family Law Clinic and the Domestic Violence Clinic. He also supervises numerous interns and externs at Legal Aid. The recipient embodies the citizen lawyer ethic in his personal and professional life and instills it in all of his students. It is my honor to present the George Wythe Society Award to Professor Daryl Cunningham.
Although our LLM students are only here for typically 1 year, some make a deep impact on the law school community. The recipient of this year's award, the Graduate Community Involvement Award, is a person who did just that. His name is Shaji Hanfi.
One of the most important student-run organizations at the law school is our Honor Council. The Honor Council protects the climate of trust and integrity that is central to the life of the law school. The Honor Council this year has been very ably led by Michael Collette. Michael, if you'll come forward and receive our thanks, and then also introduce your colleagues to the community.
Thank you, Dean Douglas. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Michael Collette, and I had the privilege of serving as this year's Honor Council Chief Justice. Of the 220 students in the class of 2016, 11 served on the Honor Council. In my humble yet completely biased opinion, I think that these 11 students are some of the smartest, selfless, and best examples of the citizen lawyer which we seek to produce here at William & Mary. The first 7 names are associate justices, or permanent appointees from the Student Bar Association. Please hold your applause. Will the following students please join me on the stage? Kendall Kemelek, Mark Kramer, Michelle Johnson, Leonard Simmons, Lauren Stock-Smith, Rachel Struble, and Kathleen Zaratsian. Please join me in congratulating them and thanking them for their service. In addition to these 7 students who are the permanent council members, we have 4 classmates from the class of 2016 who generously volunteered their time to serve as assistant justices and serve the Honor Council when needed. Elizabeth Berry, Eduardo Lopez, Hal Ma, and Parker Tobin. Please join us on the stage, and thank you for your service.
As director of the Lewis B. Puller Jr. Veterans Benefits Clinic, it's my privilege to present, along with my colleague, Professor David Belsner, the Puller Clinic Challenge Coin to those graduating students who have represented our nation's military heroes by participating in the Puller Clinic and emulating the characteristics of selfless service and professionalism. Okay, Puller Clinic students, start lining up. This is going to be like a military operation. In fact, this year's class had more than 20% of its members working on behalf of veterans, the highest percentage ever. Now, because we have so many students and the coins are not engraved, they're going to be walking across and receiving their coins, and we'll applaud afterwards. I'll be announcing their names, but it won't be as they receive their coins. Many thanks to each of the following graduates for their tireless efforts on behalf of our nation's heroes: Nasser Aberdeen, Catherine Ashley, Connor Bear, Stephen Beatty, Sarah Blacketer, Cameron Boster, Lauren Bridenbaugh, Jane Britton, Amanda Campbell, Christopher Caperso, Michael Collette, Elise Dondria, William Daisley, Sarah Dodge, Angela Diaz, Ashley Ike, Torrin Elson, Michael Goldsmith, Charles Gully, Kaylee Gum, Lindy Gunderson, Sydney Honpa, Joseph Harrison, oh my gosh, they beat me to it, Ross Hoogstraten, Caitlin Hutcherson, Kendall Kemelek, Matthew Kemelek, Sarah Kolkowski, Scott Christiniak, William Libby, Charles Lowry, Julia McCormick, Chelsea Moore, Krishana Patel, Aaron Petters, Justin Pierce, Sarah Pitts, Joshua Rice, Catherine Sheldon, Leonard Simmons, Rachel Struble, Mary Topic, Krista Wallace, Jack Wilson, Christopher Yakubison, Sarah York, Kathleen Zaratsian. Thank you. You have given tireless service to our nation's veterans.
Hi, everyone. Over 1,100 students are graduating from Virginia's 8 law schools this year, and the Virginia State Bar has selected only one of those 1,100 to receive the Oliver Whitehill Law Student Pro Bono Award. The award's named for the legendary civil rights leader, Oliver Whitehill, and recognizes exemplary pro bono and public service. William & Mary graduates have received the award more times than any other law school in the state. The president of the State Bar said this about this year's winner: "Your dedication, creativity, leadership, compassion, and determination to provide free legal assistance to military veterans and active duty personnel in Virginia are inspiring. Your service to clients in Iraq under conditions that were often challenging and dangerous is heroic. The Virginia State Bar, along with faculty and administration at William & Mary Law School, are most impressed with what you have accomplished." It's a particular personal privilege for me to recognize this graduate because 3 years ago, on the first day of 1L classes, this student and I wrestled together with the weighty issue of whether a burrito is a sandwich. It's my pleasure to ask Kaylee Gum to come forward to receive the 2016 Virginia State Bar Oliver Whitehill Law Student Pro Bono Award.
Good afternoon. I'm Crystal Shin, and I teach the Pele Special Education Advocacy Clinic. It is my honor to stand in for our class of 2005 alumnus Claire Maddox-Ribble and her husband, Bob, who generously established this award to recognize a law student for his or her outstanding service to children with special needs and their families through the Pele Special Education Advocacy Clinic. Claire and Bob established this award in honor of their son, Evan, and in memory of Evan's twin brother, Brooks. This award is presented to a graduating student who has shown a dedicated commitment to special education law and the rights of children. I met this year's recipient even before I joined the faculty at William & Mary. In March of 2014, the student was a 1L at our law school, and on her own dime and during her spring break, we met at the same National Special Education Conference. When I asked her what led to her decision to pick William & Mary Law School, she immediately said, Patty Roberts and the Pele Clinic. So Professor Roberts is my predecessor and the founder of the Pele Clinic, and little did the student know that at this time Patty was transitioning to the Veterans Benefits Clinic, and I had just interviewed for the Pele Clinic position to replace Professor Roberts. Lucky for me, I had the privilege of working closely with this year's recipient since my first day at the law school in June 2014. This year's recipient was first my summer research assistant, and then a clinic student in my Pele Special Education Advocacy Clinic and my advanced clinic. I also had the pleasure of supervising her independent writing project, which focused on comparing and critiquing special education laws abroad. She's a former special education teacher in a public school through the Teach for America program. And since her very first day at our law school, she's been eager to learn all she can about special education law and how she can continue to grow as an effective advocate for children with disabilities. This student cared deeply about each of her clients and worked diligently on every case. She exhibited the utmost preparation and professionalism at every client meeting and court hearing. Because of her deep commitment to her clients and to the mission of our clinic, she continued working on her cases even during finals and offered her assistance to me during her winter and her summer breaks. It's my privilege to have witnessed her growth as a student lawyer, and I know that she'll use her talents and her William & Mary Law degree to continuously and zealously advocate for children with disabilities. It is my distinct honor to announce that this year's award recipient is Bridget Claycomb. Unfortunately, Bridget could not be here to accept her award, but please forward your congratulations to her the next time you see her. Thank you.
One of the other significant organizations here at the law school is our Student Bar Association, and I would like to invite this year's president of the Student Bar Association, Scott Kristeniak, to come forward and confer recognition on some of his classmates. Scott?
Good afternoon. The Student Bar Association is the student government for the law school. Primarily, the Student Bar Association serves as policy advocates and the main link between the student body and the administration. We also plan and execute some of the premier law school community service and social events, and we appoint the Honor Council, and they in turn oversee our elections. And we also serve as the umbrella organization for all law school groups. So first, I'd like to recognize those who served in appointed positions for the Student Bar Association. These individuals were selected by the Student Bar Association board members to carry on essential roles in student government. As I call your name, please come to the stage and receive your award, and we'll hold all applause until the end. Sue Cook, Garrett G., Georgia McLean, Ashley Johnson, Keith Selmary, Shaina Salmon, and Pat Sebastian. And I would also like to give special recognition to those who served in elected positions. These individuals were elected by their peers to serve as representatives and leaders of the entire student body, and they did exactly that. They gave countless hours planning events, deliberating in meetings, advising others, and working to benefit the entire law school. As I call your name, please come to the stage and receive your award, and again, we'll hold applause until the end. Nasser Aborden, Katie Ashley, Phil Giamona, Shaji Hanfi, Kelly Johnson, Sarah York, and finally, Brett Tensfeld, who gave all 3 of his years in law school to the Student Bar Association. Please give all of these citizen lawyers the applause they well deserve.
Good afternoon. My name is Rihanna Shabson, and I'm an assistant dean in the admission office. Each year, student volunteers give generously of their time to assist the admission office with recruitment and enrollment activities. These enthusiastic volunteers are an essential part of our admission program, giving countless tours, emailing and calling prospective and admitted students, serving on panels, and performing many, many other tasks that we ask of them. The efforts of our admission office are strengthened by the admission ambassadors, and on behalf of William & Mary Law School, I'd like to recognize how much we appreciate and value their personal commitment, dedication, and contribution to our admission program. Would the following graduates please stand as I read their names, and if you would please hold your applause until the end. First, our Public Service Admission Ambassador, who unfortunately is not here today, Bridget Claycomb. And next, our Student Admission Ambassadors, Elizabeth Berry, Sarah Blackadar, Susan Cook, Caroline Caldwell, Michael Collette, Matthew Cooper, Allison Davis, Philip Giamana, Scott Kristeniak, Thomas Lukish, Hannah Needleman, Abigail Pierce, Kristen Poole, Elizabeth Rodemacher, Tess Rowley, Shayna Salmon, Abigail Snyder, Lauren Stock-Smith, Justin Thatch, and Lauren Zich. On behalf of the entire law school, thank you for all that you have done for admissions and the law school community, and congratulations.
The law school recognizes students who provide at least 35 hours of pro bono or volunteer community service to organizations or causes that better their communities. These 72 graduates have received certificates, and today it's my pleasure to acknowledge them publicly. They've provided pro bono help to low-income clients and nonprofit organizations. They've safeguarded the rights of indigent criminal defendants. They've secured relief for low-income clients who were taken advantage of by predatory lenders, at risk of losing their children, and facing eviction. They supported immigrants struggling to start new lives, and they've helped veterans secure disability benefits. The class of 2016's public servants also have volunteered at soup kitchens and homeless shelters. They've served as mentors to disadvantaged children and tutored teenagers and adults. They've built homes for Habitat for Humanity, nurtured the environment through park cleanups and cycling initiatives, and organized drives to collect food, clothing, books, and toys. These graduates literally have saved lives by conducting bone marrow drives and blood drives. Each of them has received a certificate, as I said, and it's my pleasure to publicly recognize them now. There are 72, so we won't have you come up on stage, but you know who you are, so please stand so that we can publicly recognize and thank you for your service.
Well, as you can tell, the class of 2016 is a very distinguished class, and we thank you for all of your service, for all of your hard work, and we look forward to hearing about you in the future. That brings us to the end of this year's award ceremony, but again, I want to invite all of you to join us in the law school lobby for a reception. So thank you very much, and we'll see you in just a few minutes.